Welcome to the Music Nut Program. I'm John. Thank you so much for joining me today. Welcome to my latest album review show. Today's show, I will review the latest album by one of my favorite singer-songwriters, a man whose music I've really gotten deep into in the last 5 years. This is James McMurtry's 11th album, released on June 20, 2025, from New West Records, The Black Dog and the Wandering Boy. This is the follow-up to James's 2021 release that was also on New West Records, The Horses and the Hounds. Like The Horses and the Hounds, this album rocks a little harder, although there's plenty of folk and Americana to be found, and James's ability as a wordsmith is still on point and intact. Tighter album, just like Horses and the Hounds, 10 songs, 44 minutes. Some of his albums, especially his latter day albums, were clocking in around the hour mark. A lot of grit here, a lot of fire, fantastic songs. Let's get into the album. This was produced by Don Dixon. Don Dixon has a lot of production credits to his name, as well as performing on several albums. He most notably produced the albums Murmur, Reckoning, and Dead Letter Office for REM back when they were on IRS Records in the 1980s. He produced several albums for one of my favorite bands called the Smithereens. And I did a weekly series on the Smithereens here on my channel, John the Music Nut, if you'd like to check it out. He produced the following Smithereens albums, Especially for You, Green Thoughts, A Date with the Smithereens, God Save the Smithereens, and 2011. He also produced James's third album, which came out in 1995 called Where'd You Hide the Body? He also produced an album for Gin Blossoms. I believe it's their latest album, 2018's Mixed Reality. Here are the musicians who played on the album. I will go over the roles of the four main musicians, and then I'll tell you the other guests who are on here, but I won't tell you their roles because some of them have a lot of different roles here. We got the incomparable James McMurtry on lead vocals, electric guitar, acoustic guitar, 8-string acoustic baritone guitar, and 12-string acoustic guitar. Tim Holtz on electric guitar and backing vocals, Cornbread on bass guitar, Darren Hess on drums. We have guest appearances by, and some of these names you'll know if you're familiar with James's work. Betty Sue, Jim Brock, Don Dixon, who produces the album, Sarah Jaros, Pat McDonald, Curtis McMurtry, who is James's son, Diana Burgess, Sam Pankey, Charlie Sexton, Booka Allen, Bonnie Whitmore, and Red Young. 7 of these songs were written solely by James McMurtry. He co-wrote South Texas Lawman with T.D. Hobart's. Laredo's Small Dark Something was written by John D. Graham, Mark Andes, and Michael Hardwick, administered by PEN USA, which stands for Poets, Essayists, and Novelists. And the last track, Broken Freedom Song, was a song written and performed by Chris Christopherson off his 1974 album, Spooky Lady's Shadow. So, let's get into the tracks on the album. Laredo, Small Dark Something, one of the 2 songs that James did not have a part in writing, opens this album hard. This is probably the hardest hitting track on the album musically. Plays more like a southern rock song between the lead guitar solo, that driving rhythm, and the harmonica playing on here as well. We have a wonderful vocal bridge on here after the solo, and this song it just cuts all the way through. But the breakdown after that solo reminds me a lot, and I'm going way off here musically. It reminds me of the opening track on Morphine's album, Yes, called Honey White. When they say we shot dope till the money ran out. This is what James is saying on here. It's in that same vein as the vocal breakdown on Honey White. It's just something that I picked up. Very cool opener. South Texas Lawman. Now we're going back to mid-tempo Americana, which is more in James's vein. This is a song about getting older. It has a very strong chorus on here. I used to be young. I used to understand. I was stronger than any man. Talk about what we were and what we're becoming, and Father Time is undefeated. Very cool character study song, and James has a ton of these. The Color of Night is a little more rollicking, more upbeats. We got a wonderful chorus on here, nice harmonies on here. Very, very catchy track. Pinocchio in Vegas. This is a wonderful song and is proof positive of James's great ability as a wordsmith. There's a lot of analogies here to Disney and Disney characters. It's very reflective, and I believe that the cello on here really complements the banjo playing on here and the acoustic guitars. We has more of a melancholy feel to it, but it has a fantastic chorus, which always starts out with the line, "Who are my grandmother's friends?" Very, very strong track. Next track is Annie. We're continuing more in that melancholy vein, more folk. This is written from the early 2000s. I mean, I'm not saying it was written in the early 2000s, but the scene is placed in that time because we got references here to Enron, to 9/11, to our president at that time, George W. Bush, and his reactions to 9/11 and what James thought about that. James has gone into these themes on prior albums, particularly Just Us Kids. He goes into that pretty deep. And this comes, it has that same kind of vein. The Black Dog and the Wandering Boy, we have the title track. This feels kind of like a country blues, although I wouldn't say it's blues in structure. It's got this cool mid-pace groove in it, a lot of harmonica on it. It's very gritty. That "Hey, somebody lied to me" chorus is just very simple, very effective, very memorable, cool, cool title track. Back to Coeur d'Alene. When I read the lyrics to this song, I wonder if he's writing this from the perspective of his father, Larry McMurtry, who was a writer for decades and was the president of PEN America that I referenced before. Because it's got more of a upbeat feel musically. We're talking about the characters, Carlton and Mikey. It's got a nice bridge on it, short, memorable chorus, but it has a sing-along chorus. It's very, very catchy. Works very well. Sons of the Second Sons. This is wonderful. Might be my favorite song on the album. Again, it's very melancholy and feel. It's a commentary on the US military and their changing role, like what you thought it was when you were young, and then what you see what it is as you get older, your observations of that. And the role changes as time goes on. It all depends on just my personal opinion. A lot of times it depends on who's in charge of the country. That's what this is all about. And it's very contemplative, very respectful as well, respectful to the military, but maybe critical of what they're being told to do. Very, very strong track, and the cello in here really works very well into that melancholy feel. Sailing Away has an autobiographical feel. I don't know if James wrote this about himself or he wrote this about someone else. It's about a traveling musician on the road and a relationship with his girlfriend or his wife. Will she be there when I come back? It's it's a very strong track, something that's very relatable. And James sings this song with a lot of expression. This song is very good. We close the album with the cover of Chris Christopherson's Broken Freedom song. Now, this isn't as stark as or barren as Chris's original track. Three verses on here, and like James, Chris was a master of wordplay, one of our finest songwriters, and Chris left us a few years ago. We're looking at the ways to find freedom, whether it's from the soldier's point of view, the sister's point of view, or the savior's point of view. Wonderfully written track, great version, delivery here by James and the musicians. A wonderful way to end an excellent album. This is the latest album by James McMurtry, his 11th release, The Black Dog and the Wandering Boy. I bought this when it came out at my local record store, Joe Nardone's Gallery of Sound, two locations, Wilkes-Barre and Dixon City, Pennsylvania. I've given this a dozen listens in the last 2 weeks, 9.5 right now in to my ears. Excellent album. And I really, really enjoy all the albums in his catalog, but The Horses and the Hounds and Black Dog and a Wandering Boy among his finest albums. So, what do you think of James McMurtry's music? What do you think of folk music and Americana music in general? What do you think of this album if you have heard it? Have you heard any of his music? Do you only know some of his early songs, such as Painting by Numbers or Level Land or Choctaw Bingo, which is another one of his famous songs that Ray Wiley Hubbard covered, or another song that was very, very topical called we're not we can't make it here anymore. That's the song I'm going for. Please let me know in the comments what you think, James McMurtry. I will be putting out another album ranking later on today. I did a show outside on the deck, but when I watched the video, it came out a little too grainy for my taste, so it was best for me to come back into my usual surroundings down here in the den. So, thank you so much for watching the show today. Do what you love, and I'll talk to you soon.